Rosita, how do you pronounce your last name?
Chatonda.
See, now what is that? Where is that from?
It's Shona, South Africa.
I'm about to say, that ain't American. Rosita, I finally get a chance to interview. Let me set that camera up just right. We're right in front of, right behind Horace Mann. We on Chappelle, right?
Yes.
80th and Chappelle. We're gonna talk about the public schools. But first, Rosita, why are you a education activist?
Well, I have been an education activist since my children. I have 4 children that went to CPS. And, they went to private school and they went to this Mount Carmel CPS. And they ended up, my last 2 went through CPS. So I was a parent volunteer. I was the Booster Band Club president for Kenwood for over 10 years, and we raised thousands of dollars in money for our students there. I simultaneously taught, and I taught and worked in the schools at the same time. I started as a substitute teacher in 1986. So basically, while my children were small, I've been in almost every school on the South Side. I taught, and then I was a union organizer for the Chicago Teachers Union for a brief stint. And I organized 125 schools. So basically, in almost every school over here, I pretty well know the principals and the staff and the teachers.
But Rosita, you are a retired teacher then, right?
No, I'm not.
Not officially?
No.
So you just always been an activist?
Yeah, I've always been an activist, but because I had 4 children and I had been recently separated, I had to spend most of my time within the schools doing activism in terms of raising money, helping children, and of course, working full-time as a teacher and raising my own children. I have 3 sons. Now I have 3 sons, 1 daughter, and 4 grandsons who have recently moved back to Chicago. So now they're CPS students, so I continue with the activism.
So you went to the well, how long were you a school teacher?
I started as a substitute in 1986, and I left the board. I worked in Catholic school for a while, and I came back in 1993. I was hired under the Teach for Chicago program, which is similar to Teach for America. So I came into the system. I got my master's, and I'm proud that I did it with 4 children and working full-time and going to school at night for 2 or 3 years. And then I continued my education. I went back to school. I got middle school endorsements, and I did that all while being a single parent and raising 4 children.
Now you consider yourself a really good teacher. When you was a teacher, you were really good.
Yeah, I was a good teacher. Of course, there's a learning curve in the beginning. I had to learn, and it takes a while to be a good teacher.
Well, how long does it take to be a good teacher? Some people say 5 years.
It is 5 years. Yeah. I think that you really don't become a real educator until you're in there for 5 years. And this is a sad thing because the alternative certification programs, they are bringing teachers in and then pushing them out after 5 years.
Well, a lot of teachers, they come in and they only teach for like 2 or 3 years, especially in urban schools. They say, I can't handle these urban kiddies. These children are off the chain, off the wall. I got to go somewhere else.
Well, it's very difficult, but as a parent and having children, always being around my own sons and their friends, I think that people with children, and I hate to say this, I think they actually make better teachers because they have a little bit more patience and they're not as thrown by some of the things that the children say and do. So I left CPS, and I did not leave and I left under crises. And it was actually a blessing in disguise because I had been involved in a kind of undercover investigation. And that is one thing you never do with CPS. And I urge people, if you have information, do not report it to CPS or any of their agencies. You go outside to whoever the regulatory agency is and report, because after that, it just became a complete attack upon
Yeah,
me.
but if you consider a troublemaker, you know you're gonna be on the way out.
Yeah, yeah. But I really, it was innocent, really.
I know
really,
you're innocent, but I'm saying if you perceived
Yeah.
as a troublemaker.
Yeah, if you're perceived.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea that when I made this email, Arnie Duncan, they had an email and they said, if you have a problem, well, I was a lead math science coach and had moved my school over 3 years in 1 year, working with the teachers at
You moved the students up.
yeah,
In achievement.
Yeah, in achievement.
Wow.
And because that was my, if you ask anybody that works with me, every year I would have the highest gain in reading in my building. And I taught at South Chicago when I left, and the last year I had moved the students up 3 years.
But you said, I got to, because people, they were like, I don't want to get them bored because we got to get to Arnie Duncan. You sent an email to Arnie Duncan. Arnie Duncan, did you in?
Rosita and Watkins, actually. It was a simultaneous email to both of them.
Wow.
And when I sent the email to them, it was just a benign,
You're
I
innocent.
had no idea.
Innocent.
I just wanted to know why teachers who had endorsements in math and science were not being hired. And teachers who were given favors but they were to lead instruction in these areas. So I was curious as to, knowing that I had to go 3 years to school, I was curious.
So you weren't starting trouble. You were just asking a question.
It would confuse me.
But you got in trouble asking a question.
Well, when I got off the conversation email, because I sent the email thinking that we're going to Never Never Land.
Right.
In 2 minutes, Barbara Easton Watkins was emailing me back. And so after I told my girlfriend, I said, I don't think I have a job, because my email was then forwarded to the notorious Dr. Delina Little, so who was the area superintendent. And I knew then
So we going
I had
in,
trouble.
we going in the weeds. You know that.
Yeah.
We can't go in. We got to stay out of the weeds, because that's way over. What we're trying to say is that the CPS, any public school system, is a lot of bureaucracy.
Right.
Let me pull it all down. With all this bureaucracy, how do we, not to say anything bad about Horace Mann behind us or any other school,
Yes.
how do we improve the school? How do we improve these young men who are struggling in grammar school?